Lesson H4, drawing rotations. So understanding the properties of transformations, I can rotate a figure on the coordinate plane. So we're going to keep working like we have in the last few days, but now we're going to be working with rotations and describe the effect of the transformation. So to rotate an object, you need to have a center of rotation. Ours is almost always going to be our origin. So if you think, where is the origin? And we are just going to be looking at how many degrees to rotate. So rotations is the turning of counterclockwise. So if you're thinking counterclockwise, remember the clock numbers 12, 1, 2, if we're going 11, 10. So counterclockwise is going around this direction. Okay, so counterclockwise direction is measured with a degree that is a positive number. Rotations that are clockwise are going to have negative numbers. So this is kind of key. Positive goes with counterclockwise, negative goes with clockwise. And it's kind of almost the opposite of what some of you might be thinking. As you take a look at this, we're going to take a look at some examples on this animation. And what you're going to do is, I also attached this on the daily planner, so you can take a look at it also. And as you look at this, it's going to show you, if we want to start this first one, we are going to rotate it 180 degrees. So you can see 180. You can see 270 if we are looking at 270. So we're going to take that one point, and now we're going to click that point anywhere, and we are going, remember, counterclockwise. So 270 is actually the same as 90 clockwise if we are looking at that. 360, that's nice, right? If we're looking at a 360, we are going to be looking at changing that. And 360, where should it end up if we are looking at it? Again, that's our 90. And then we're going to have 180, 270, all the way to 360 takes us back exactly to where we were. So as you look at that, and you can kind of check this out to see the different ones. Here's the 90 again. So when you are looking at a 90, looking at a point, 90, 1, 2, you're going to notice that it changes to negative 2, 1. So each of these is kind of important as we are looking at those. So the other thing I want to show you is, as we take a look, is this is on the geometry sketch pad. And so if I show a rotation of this one of 90 degrees, okay, if we look at the angles, this is where I'm talking about, where you could actually see that this is a 90-degree angle from yellow to yellow, from blue line, from C to C prime, from B to the center to B prime, if we are looking at that, okay? So that kind of is nice if we are looking at those. So again, looking at those, and we're going to start with that one. The other thing that you can see down here is we can also do 180 degree. So if we do the rotation of 180, it kind of flips it totally over. And again, these are the angles, so from that we can look at. 270 degree rotation, if we're going to look at 270, here is what 270 looks like. All the way around, or it's the same as going this way. And again, if we are looking at the angles, that angle from the center, that's our 270 degree rotation. So as we are looking at this unit and doing the lesson, we are going to be taking a look at the different ones. We've just looked at this rotation here. It says for each triangle, discuss the following questions. So as we are taking a look at this, look at what happens to move the points on the triangles around. What is always true about their points and their images, and what's always true about the points and their images is that the sides will always have the same length. And if we look at the angles in our triangle, all the angles will have the same measure. And again, we can take a look at that. If we look at, again, if we want to look at the 90, right? So if we're looking at the 90, these angles are exactly the same measure, okay? If we want to look at the 180, as we look at the 180 on ours, so the 180, okay? So as we are looking at our assignments, what's going to be really important is looking at how do we get these points. So if we click on what do we know about the points and their images, again, here, They are going to be the same, or we can call them congruent, same length or equal length. And we are also going to have equal angles and when we are looking at that. So equal length and equal angles. So the picture does not change, okay? And again, this is going to be the same as a -90 as our 270 if we are doing it. And again, are these two the same? And we should say yes. -90 going clockwise 90 degrees is going to be the same as going 270 degrees counterclockwise. So as we look at this next picture, it says, look at the 4 flags that are going clockwise from 0, 0. We look at the 3 marked points on the flag labeled the top, the end, and the bottom. Okay, so the top of the first one, if we go, is way over at 5, 0. So this is our 5, 0. The end is at 4, -2. So we're talking about this point. This is our 4, -2. And the bottom is the 3, 0. Okay, so each part of those flags. When we move flag 2, notice it goes from 5, 0 to 0, 5. 4, -2 goes to 2, 4. 0, 3 from 3, 0. Flag 3, now we look at these from 1 to 3. This is going to be how many degrees? So this is 90 degrees. If we go from flag 1 to flag 3, we are going all the way around here. That's going to be 180 degrees, right, to this flag, 180 degrees. And if we go from flag 1 to flag 4, that's going to be our 270 degree, okay? So from 1 to 2, that's our 90 degree. From 1 to 3, that's going to be our 180 degree rotation. And if we are going from 1 to 4, that is going to be a 270 degree or a -90 degree. So it says, do you see a pattern for writing the coordinates as we rotate around the origin? And what we should be looking at is, as I want you to kind of think about that, in the next page down in our notes, we actually state those notes. But notice here, if you have X, Y, what happens to the next one? Oh, it looks like we switch them around. Does that work for each one when we go X, Y? Oh, not totally. This one becomes the opposite. Look at those are opposites, right? How about 3, 0? Oh, those are switched around. But remember, 0 can't have an opposite. If we look at going from the first to the third flag, our orders stay the same, right? They're still X, Y, but now they become the opposites. And so this is kind of the rules that we are going to be putting down. And I'll have you just copy these rules if you need to pause the video as you're watching it. So when we do a 90 degree rotation, I need you to write down the X coordinates exchange places and the sign of the new X is reversed. The other thing that I'm going to always have you put is that remember, this is going to be, we are going 90 counterclockwise. Put an arrow on the top. That helps to remind you that this is the one that becomes the opposite. So we always switch places on the 90 and on the 270. And then which one becomes the opposite? The first one. And you'll see this as we do an example. What do we know about 180? Again, copy this in your notes. The sign, if we are looking at the sign, I'm not sure, it won't let me change that, but the X and Y coordinates are reversed. So when you take a look at that, what do we mean by reversed? We mean that X comma Y is going to change to -X, opposite of X, opposite of Y. And a lot of times, it's sometimes better to think of instead of negative as the opposite. So if this is a negative number, again, this is the opposite of whatever your Y coordinate is. Whatever Y is here, this is the opposite of that. This is opposite X. This is the opposite of your Y coordinate. Okay, and when we look at those. If you look at the 270, what happens to 270? When we are looking at our 270, again, that 270, the X and Y change places. The sign of the new Y is reversed. So when we are taking a look at this, you need to be very careful. So again, when I'm writing this for the 270, what you want to put down is that your X comma Y is going to change to Y, switching places, and opposite of X. And again, I might, if I'm doing the 270, this is the same as a 90 degrees clockwise. So I put an arrow showing me for this negative 90 degree turn that I'm going to change the second one. And this again is the opposite of x. And really the best one is at 360. What happens to 360? 360, everything should stay exactly the same. The x and y coordinates are unchanged, and it takes you back to your original picture. And again, if you need to pause the video to make sure you have this written down, do so. So now we want to actually try using our rules. So when we are looking at a 90 degree, one of the first things I'm going to have you do, positive 90 means we're going counterclockwise. So our rule was x, y. We're going counterclockwise 90, which means I'm going in this direction 90. I switch the order, y and x, whatever my coordinates are, but now this one becomes the opposite. So when I have you write down on your papers, when you do this in your notes and your homework, we're going to put point A. Point A is located at 1, 4. Where will our new point A prime be located? A prime is going to be located at, we're going to switch the coordinates, so y is 4, we're going to go opposite of y, which is negative 4, x is 1, and we're going to go to negative 4, 1. And if I look at this point A prime, what I really want to try to take a look at is, if I was drawing this, would this make a 90 degree angle from A to the center to A prime? And if I look at this angle is a 90 degree angle. So I did the point correct. And before you do all 3 points, I would recommend just start with one and do each one. So I'm now looking at B. Where is B located? B was located at 4, 2. Where is C located? C is located at 2, 0. We now want the new B prime. The new B prime, switch the order. So this is my x, this is my y. It's going to be the opposite of y, negative 2 and 4. Negative 2 and 4 is going to be my new B. I'm going to connect those two with a straight line. I'm now looking at where is my new C point. And we call this C prime, and C prime is going to be located, we switch the order, the opposite of the y. Well, there isn't an opposite of 0, so 0, 2. And we're looking at 0, 2. And you can definitely see with C prime that this is a 90 degree turn, because you're going from C to the origin to C prime. So we want to look at this next one with 180, and again, put your rule down. So the rule is x, y. The nice thing about 180, opposite x, opposite y. So if we are going to write down our points, again, we have the same points, so we have A being at 1, 4. So you really could copy those from up above, 4, 2 for B, and C being at 2, 0. Where is our new point A prime going to be? So if I'm looking for A prime should be opposite of x, which is negative 1, opposite of y, negative 4. So negative 1, negative 4. And again, if I was going to draw an angle from A to the center, from the origin, and now down to A prime, that is a 180 degree angle. So I did it correctly. I'm now going to do B prime, negative 4, negative 2. Negative 4, negative 2 gives me my B prime, and C prime should be at negative 2, 0. Each time make sure you're labeling them with the A prime, B prime, C prime as I'm looking at those, and try and draw as accurately as possible. And as you can see, sometimes I struggle with that, but you can use the edge of your workbook, the edge of your notebook as you are doing these. So it says if we take a regular coordinate plane and rotate counterclockwise, what would it look like? So if I take this coordinate plane, and what I want you to do is to just copy this into your notes. Again, you can pause the video. What's going to happen if we turn at 90? So thinking about turning at 90, what was x, now the x is here, and our y, and this is our rule. Okay, what we just did. If we look at the next one, again, pause it if you need to, 180 degrees. When we look at 180, everything flips totally over. So the y that was on top, okay, remember our y and our x, now the y is down here, everything became the opposite, and our x is here. So looking at where those x's and y's are. So in 270, again, we are going to flip it all the way around. Our y, if we are looking at it, our y is going to be over here, which would be the same as doing a negative 90. So it reverses it. And our x, if we are looking at it, is down here. And then we're always looking at what are our rules. So when you do your homework, we're always going to put down our rule first for our transformation that we are looking at for our rotation. So your assignment, as you start off, is you are going to be doing in your homework this lesson, you are asked to rotate G 90 degrees. Well, when you are looking at these problems, the key thing is you want to put where is G located. So we're going to put G as an ordered pair. And in this case, we would say at 3, -4. And if it helps you to put your rule 90 degrees around the origin, remember, that is going to be 90 degrees counterclockwise. When it says 180, this -90, remember that is going to be the clockwise. So put the point down and then tell me where your new G prime is. For each of these, that's kind of what you're going to be looking at. They're asking you to do this one to reflect it. So you're going to do some reflections like we've done before. Here, when you do this one, remember 270 is the same as a -90, which is clockwise. And then, so you're going to have two pictures. So like we did before, this first one we might call, we start off with our ABC. Then you might put your A prime. That's going to be our first one. And then it says reflected over the x-axis. So you're going to get a new point. And then this last one is going to be called our A double prime. Sometimes it's really helpful to write the points. Other times, some of you don't need to write the points and you can just do the drawings. Okay? So just make sure as you're checking your homework that you're taking a look at it. I don't think we're going to take this quiz today. We'll probably take this on Monday of next week. So work on that assignment. You should have everything caught up for Monday of next week.